Wonderful. Thank you, Susa.
Sorry. Just to say for other people, this meeting will be recorded, and later on we would like to publish it on YouTube, so that those people who could not attend, they can later on watch this webinar. So this is just for your information. Sorry. Now.
So hello everybody, I'm Kaisa, and I must say that it had been a while that when I have been in Zoom meeting, I'm struggling to share my presentation. Now, can you see it?
Yeah, but we see it in a working mode. Now we see it properly.
Okay, great. So this presentation, or actually workshop, is based on our study about humans and their connections to trees. And what I mean by connection is by their individual, personal, and really private emotions, feelings, actions connected to trees they especially care about or love, or which are near of them. And yes, thank you, Susa, for introducing me. So originally I am a cultural anthropologist, which means that I have been studying humans and culture quite a time. And then I was working in forestry field as well. So I kind of learned forest sciences actually in working. So a couple of words about our study. Then I would like to introduce some case examples, which means some special stories of humans and their favorite trees. And after that, I would give you a space for you also to think about your favorite special trees and maybe share your stories if you feel like. And after that, I suggest that we would actually together discuss and think about how the trees could create or make possible for us humans to actually strengthen our resilience and nature connections, and how trees could help us people in many ways. So I'm really eager to also hear your thoughts and experiences about your own life, or maybe of somebody you have seen. So trees come in many shapes and sizes, and they serve many purposes in our local environments. And some trees are really more memorable than others. They are catching our attention and becoming important parts of our everyday experience. And some of the trees that are important to us in everyday part of our lives, they are near our homes, everyday environments, some in remote summer cottages or childhood gardens, or even in some secret favorite places. So they are ordinary art trees whose leaves need to be raked and from which we observe the cycle of the year and the passage of time. They are handsome old landscape trees that we admire from afar, or even come to see from afar. They are the trees visible from our window, and trees which sometimes shade you from the sun in good or bad sense. And they are park trees that people come to rest with, recharge their batteries, and ground themselves. And they are trees that bloom beautifully. They bring multisensory joy through their appearance, their fragrance, and their sweet fruits. And there are the trees where you put your bird feeder for the winter, like we do in Finland, where you observe the life of birds, squirrels, bugs, and became aware of the nature and the whole of creation. And trees like these connect people to the nature. And even a single tree can be the most important or even the only contact with nature for a person who does not move much from home. So as we see, it's really important to be able to experience the nature even in such a small scale format. So I work in the Trees Near Us project in collaboration of natural scientists, literature scholar, and creative artists. And we collected stories from Finland and from Netherlands. And we asked about their special favorite tree individual in the survey and in interviews. So we were looking really kind of multiple kind of data with some. We asked people to describe the trees. We asked about the emotions, about the people. We actually wanted to also find out that is there some correspondence, like is there any, what is common actually in people's tree relationships. And today I will show you some photos and stories of people who we interviewed. The photos are taken by professional photographer with which we worked with. Now I would like to ask actually Zuzá, how much time do we have for the examples? Because I have so many of them and I'm really sure that there is no need to maybe show all of them.
No, I think you just select 2 or 3. And I don't know how much in depth you would like to talk about them, but the general time frame, I think we should finish the main part at 3 p.m. our time. But then, I mean, people who would like to stay and continue discussion, we can of course continue, but we promise that it will be like 1 hour of the main part. So what you do with the time is up to you. I am here to help you.
Okay, let's do so that I would introduce a couple of examples, maybe in 10 minutes or so, and then we would have some space for the participants to share some of their ideas. And if there would be time, then I could tell a little bit more about our cases.
I'm very curious to ask about the research, whether it is or whether there are already some results or something which is kind of being clarifying right now about these commonalities, or is it too early to speak?
Okay, I can, yes, I would like to shortly answer to that. So we have actually now created 3 papers, which are at this point unpublished. There is one paper about connectivity of Finnish people and their favorite trees. And there we could create kind of 3 main stereotypes of people, trees, and relationships. Then we did a bit similar thing with Netherlands data. And we find out that those similarities and types are pretty similar in our data. So I would say that they are actually some really common things which I dare to say that this is kind of true.
So like what?
Like what? Okay, let's see about people. Actually, we found out three kind of main groups of people who have the three relationships. They are people who are living in kind of rural lifestyle with their own houses, even in countryside or small cities or in the outskirts of the cities. And they have really special kind of relationships with the trees, which are in their own yards, which they meet every day. And that's really kind of, well, everyday relationship where tree could be even kind of your family member or something really stable in your surroundings. It's part of your home, part of your garden, part of your family. You meet it every day. You see how the season changes. And that creates, of course, well, many kinds of things you can imagine. Then we find out that the people who live in the block houses and in the cities, in the multi kind of storage houses, they're typically their tree relationships are much different, and their favorite trees could be much far away. So they must typically even travel to see their favorite trees, maybe to their old childhood home or their old city of living or city park. And that kind of trees, or if their favorite tree is in the city, the relationship is much, how to say, unstable. And there could be a fear of loss. Because, of course, gardens and city parks and streets are maintained, and someone else then makes decisions of the trees. And that could also cause stress. And losing this kind of trees could cause anxiety and really cause even dramatic situations and emotions to people. Then we also had a third group, actually, who didn't have so active connection to the nature, which are usually elderly people or people who are mostly staying home. And their favorite trees could be really far away, like physically. And they connect with their favorite trees in the memories. So even thinking about the favorite tree could bring people really intense emotions and good memories or bad memories as well. So the trees affect people even though they would be far away or gone. And that really actually creates interesting possibilities for human well-being. When you think about somebody who is maybe living in elderly home or hospital or city in the blockhouse and couldn't go out really often, seeing a tree of same species with your favorite, and if you see a tree with the same species than your favorite, even that different tree could bring you back those experiences and memories and such. So for that sense, we see it's really important to actually offer people for these multiple possibilities of connecting themselves to nature and memories as well.
So that is, it's enough even when it is not that one, but the similar one, the same species, is enough to bring us some relief, some good feelings, some healing of whatever our maybe problems in our soul.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really strong.
It could be, yes. for some people it could be really strong. So yes. And we're also publishing a paper about nature poetry, which is written in Finnish language. So poetry about trees. And it was fun to find out that in the past years during our project, there have been published so much poetry about nature and especially about trees. So we are going to kind of make some conclusions about that. What is the case?
Wow.
But now I could move forward and show you some real life examples. I won't read any quotes, but I will shortly tell about the person and the connection and the tree which they had. So I met this man in his summer cottage where he and his wife moved actually to live in their elderly days. And the tree in the picture is oak tree. And he planted that tree himself from the oak nut, which he brought from his childhood surroundings from totally different side of the Finland, from different area. And then he brought several of them, planted them in the summer cottage garden and took care of them all these years. And now they are high, big, surviving because of him. Actually, these oak trees doesn't naturally live in this area of Finland where he lives. So they need special care. And we found out that this special oak tree connects him to his childhood memories and the places he was living and born in. And also what kind of happened with this tree, that even though he's in his own yard, there is a cable company which is kind of controlling the space in his yard, because there is the electricity cable going across the yard. And like, unfortunately, that the tree, which is his favorite, is planted under that electricity cable. So there is regulations that how long the tree can be. And like, he has been fighting really hard to maintain the tree. It shouldn't be longer than some like 5 meters or so. And he has refused to cut it down, to put it down, because of the special importance. And he's cutting, he needs to climb up to the tree to do cutting like in every couple of years, and it's lots of trouble. And he was also thinking about like what will happen to the tree when he himself is gone. That would his children really make all the trouble for saving the tree? He was a bit worrying about that as well. And really, he had also some other favorite trees, like many other favorite trees in that garden. And about one oak tree, he told that he had to cut it down actually for some other reasons, but now he was planning, he was kind of saying it seriously, but a bit jokingly, that he is kind of planning to make something of it, actually, to make something like a coffin or the case for his ashes when he's gone. Wow. So it was really, now I start crying. I apologize, but really, like that kind of strong emotions could be connected And I could see that like living together with the tree you planted yourself, which you took care about all the time, really connects people to trees, and their stories become one with the trees, because they grow together, people and trees. They take care of each other. They relax together. They suffer together. So it's amazing to see how strong connections could be. Okay, another example. There is a lady in the natural park, which is like conservation area near the sea. And then there is an oak, which is really old, like hundreds and hundreds of years old. And this is the place where she was introduced to nature. Mm-hmm. So her relatives brought her and the other children to this natural park for hiking and walking and enjoying the nature. And every season they went there. And after some time, she noticed this tree, and when she started to come here by herself, she always went to see that special one. And really also, like she said, that she's hugging the tree or greeting the tree, feeling really empathetic towards the tree, and felt some kind of belongingness with the tree who stand there like hundreds of years in the seaside wind, also struggling. So I think this is an example where people could see similarities and also kind of get strength for trees who have been surviving and who have been strong. And they can get comfort from that kind of old and strong creature. And that could help people to get more faith or more energy to also try their best in their lives. And this kind of, I would call them as a charismatic trees. And I think many of you know what I mean. Those are the trees which are somehow different than others by their shape and size, their age. And they kind of make us remember that there has been so much before us. Those trees have been here before us, and when we are gone, they will stay. And that really could help people to feel themselves in a scale smaller and feel the power of the trees and nature. And maybe that helps sometimes. Feel yourself small and see that there is bigger entities like nature, God, time, past generations. It could be anything for you. But really, it could help remember that we are not alone. And there are big things, big powers in this world, which would take care of us as well. About the special person, that lady who is there hugging the tree, actually she told also that that area and that tree helped her to decide her profession. So she's a natural scientist nowadays, and mainly because of this experiences she got in the nature when being child, and when she was there introduced to the nature by the relatives. So that was also really shaping her life. Okay, a third example, and then it would be your turn, maybe, if there is a volunteer. Let's see. I would choose this lady here in the forest. And this is a forest which she owns by herself. In Finland, there are many nature owners. It's kind of typical that person could buy or inherit a piece of land, which is usually not really big one. And then they take care of the forest and also sell wood for the commercial purposes. And this is the plot she bought some couple of years ago and found out that in this forest there was 3 trees which were older than others. And she became curious of them. And when she was doing harvesting in the forest, she wanted to save them and conserve them because she realized that someone else has been actually doing the same decision for those trees. And she told me something that she doesn't think that she owns those trees, like she owns the plot and the land, but those trees kind of own themselves. And this was the place she was bringing her children and her relatives to understand the nature and understand that taking care of the nature and importance of nature conservation. And this was the place she was resting while doing the harvesting job. Okay, maybe now I would give a turn to somebody else. So, is there anybody who would like to share their story? Something about you and your tree? You can write your comment, or then you can maybe put.
Okay, let's wait a couple of minutes whether there will be somebody who would like to share the story of your tree. And if not, maybe we can do a little tiny exercise so that we can put ourselves in small groups, and you guys can talk to each other and share a little bit, maybe for 7 minutes, just a little bit in very small group, and then come back, and maybe then it will be easier to speak up in front of the whole group. What do you think?
This is a nice suggestion. And actually, if
yes,
we share people to the groups, you can then maybe think about your tree and share something about it. And you can also together think about what kind of aspects in human tree relationships or with trees could help people, how trees could help people to find the balance or health or resilience in life. Maybe you can imagine, and then we can discuss about that together later. Let's do so.
Okay, so yes, so please just try to talk a little bit in a small room. I will give you something like let's say 7 minutes, and then we come back. I hope that you will have at least a tiny discussion, and whoever wants to speak will be speaking. If not, we will continue discussing with Kaisa, but I think that would be a pity to not include you. So let's have 7 minutes in small breakout rooms. So just like this, and Yes. So you're keeping secrets about your trees. I see.
Okay, I can because I see that I did not stop my microphone. So hi, I was discussing with Veronica, and I just gave my little memory from childhood that I used to go every day around the tree, a linden tree, which I learned that was that the shape of the tree top or the tree crown is like the tree leaves, like the linden leaves. But that was in my childhood. So when I saw the tree, I knew that I'm going home. But right now, I don't have any specific tree around me. I can just say that I'm happy that in the nature area here near Svätý Jur, there is Šur, which is the protected area with also oak trees that are being now sort of cleaned, or the area has been cleared from all the trees that came nalety, which were not there.
The invasion,
yeah. And they brought in some animals that are eating them. So it is becoming as it used to be, so solitaire, big oaks in the country. So this is something that we are looking forward to seeing. And we talked with Veronica about also the groups of trees, that sometimes there are interesting groups of trees, not only the individual trees that give you some good vibes, let's say.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marta, very much. Please go ahead, somebody else from some other group maybe. Bernadetta, would you like to share?
Yeah, hi, we are here together with Marta. Yeah, I thought in group about one old house in Svätý Jur. It's called Renaissance House, and this is the cultural heritage house. And this house has in a small garden a big, it's a huge mulberry tree. It's around 150 or 200 years old, and everybody is speaking about tree that is kind of heart of this house. And that the tree can share the stories about all the life in this old house. So this is our mulberry tree in Svätý Jur.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marta, also for Slovak explanation, which one it is. Thank you. Somebody else?
Yeah, I also had the mulberry tree. I don't have a video. Hi. I will just start the video.
Okay. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, it just reminded me I had the mulberry tree that I was climbing as a child, and I absolutely loved it. And then my granddad cut it down, and I was devastated. As a child, maybe I was 10. But in our actually small group, we discussed, because I'm joining you from Australia. I live here for a long time.
Wow.
And and I actually like the Aboriginal culture here is just amazing. And what I've learned through the connection and stories here with Aboriginal people is that, for example, they have like a direction tree. So it was like when a child is born, they have their own tree, and that's planted shortly after the birth. And the child's placenta is mixed with the seed, and from then on it becomes their own tree. And so we discussed within our leader group, it's like how amazing it would be if we keep going with this tradition even throughout the whole world, and everyone would have such a strong connection to nature, because they will have their tree that literally is their tree. And they actually keep like this tradition is still ongoing, and the Aboriginal women, even if they have like birth in hospitals, they take their placenta and they go to bush or countryside, and they still bury the placenta under the tree. So yeah, that was our short story that we had time to share.
But it's very strong story, very interesting.
Really interesting. Thank you, Jana, for sharing it.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask you that if you would maybe eventually like make part of your like the part of what you do is like to have the worldwide stories collection or so, because I saw the map and it was mostly about Europe, but it would be amazing to kind of spread it around the world and share that.
Yeah, that's my dream. That's my dream, actually. You gave proper words for that.
I can collect some stories for you.
And it's really amazing to see these kind of connections, that how same kind of emotions and traditions there actually are around the world. In Finland, we also, like, not everybody, but we have the tradition to plant tree for a child or the baby, that they could grow together. And also the story you told about the climbing tree, it's like super common, like maybe like almost everybody here in Finland have the similar experience, and how bad it feels to when your parents actually usually secretly cut the tree away, that you cannot climb it anymore. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
But how about in Slovakia? Do you have that kind of tradition of planting trees for children or for some special occasions?
Yeah, like it's a question on me or in general?
Yeah, I mean, in some families, people are planting trees, but usually they are like fruit trees in the garden. I have my own grape tree, for example, which was planted when I was born. And I know several families who planted something in the garden when the child was born. What I know are usually, like this kind of fruit trees, or chestnut or walnut tree or something like that. Something which is like bringing also some kind of food to people.
But sorry that I'm jumping in again.
Yes.
But you know what is interesting in Australia. So what like I totally like can connect with it because, you know, we were climbing trees as kids, but here in Australia, there's such a strong regulations about everything. Like they call it the nanny state or country where everything has rules, and they're cutting branches from the trees from like down, so kids or people can actually climb them so they can hurt themselves. So I was really surprised to find out that in the park or so they do this deliberately so the kids can't like I guess I don't know, break their legs or so. So I just ended up like going and taking my kids away from the playground and just deliberately being in the bush and forest with them so they can climb trees, because they can't do it in the parks that are maintained by the city.
I see.
I find it really strange. Maybe not sure how it is in Slovakia anymore. Probably not the same, but like we just moving away from, again, connecting with the nature, and rather disconnecting through this like overprotectiveness or like
yeah, it's interesting the discussion about perceiving nature as dangerous, that it is something very, very natural in our instincts, but on the other hand, by our urban culture, it may be sometimes like too much over, like we are not so often and so intensively in the nature, and we are afraid of it sometimes. Some people, of course, maybe it's not so visible in Finland as far as I experienced. The Finnish people are very connected to forest and to trees, and I would like to ask you, Kaisa, about this, but I still want to encourage some other people, maybe if you still feel like sharing something. I see here some interesting people whom I would like to hear, but I don't want to force anybody to say what you were discussing in a small group. Alexandra?
I can say something. I remembered when we were like thinking about trees, and I remembered this tree I saw in when I used to live in Glastonbury in the UK, and there was this small village called Compton Dundon, and they had this like my friends from Glastonbury was saying, oh, you have to go there, you have to see the tree, and it was over 1,000-year-old yew tree. It was here like from a long time, and I checked it now online, and they say now that it's like 1,700 years old.
Wow!
It's like probably the oldest tree that I know, and it still looks like it's in a very good condition. So
that's fascinating.
Yeah. So that's what I was telling.
Thank you, Alexandra. Somebody else, some other example. Nina. Okay, thank you very much. And we will send you then all of you the link on this video so that you can watch it in the end. Okay, then if nobody else wants to share the story, I'd like to ask Kaisa about because you are also exploring or trying to research the attitude of Finnish people towards forests. So can you say, is there anything special about Finnish people and the forest? I think yes, but I was there just for 2 weeks, so.
Well, what I think is kind of special here that forests are actually really easy accessible for everybody. Even in the cities, there are small forest areas inside the cities. So almost in every place, even in capital city, you can access forest in even like 10, 15 minutes by foot or by some local transport. And I think that's really valuable also for the well-being. Like, as many of you were sharing, how going to the forest and near the trees makes you feel good. And that's also scientifically researched in many times, like how much and how forests and trees and being into nature relieves stress and helps with many kind of psychology and psychological, mental, and physical health issues to strengthen ourselves. Well, I don't know about Slovakia. I haven't been there yet, but this is something. Also, we have our traditional mythology and traditional knowledge, which is, well, not mainstream, but it's kind of known history about Finnish traditions.
And it's also now coming back to fashion, as far as I understood, that people started to be more and more interested in that.
Yeah, I think that kind of spirituality, anyway, it's a basic need of humans, that's I would say. And however they find it from the church or from the nature, it's important to fill the need in some way, and nature is becoming maybe more and more valued in that sense. In Finland, and I think also maybe in worldwide or in Europe, I have that kind of feeling. Also, what we see in Finland, that people are ready to fight for trees. Like I think this is really common in Europe, that if there is a possibility that some park trees or trees would be cut, there would be movements to protect the trees. And Finnish people are really doing this as well, even though Finnish people are not really eager to demonstrate or be against anything or express their attitudes. But with trees, if there is such a thing, there is always some kind of resistance. So that's one of the rare cases where Finnish people actually stand up to say that no, we don't want this.
So usually Finnish people are cold and calm, but when the tree is in danger, then the wildness of Finnish personality is coming out, right?
Yeah, and this also has negative aspects, because it could be causing troubles and fights between the families, inside the families, in neighborhoods, between the neighbors. So it's really something we must maybe take seriously and think about it and talk about it.
I see. Yes. It's also here in Slovakia, especially in cities, that people can be very emotionally attached to urban trees. And as you were saying at the beginning, that when somebody else is deciding about your tree, it can cause a lot of negative feelings and anxiety, and then readiness to go to fight, even if from a rational point of view, everything is correct, the decision is made correct way, but it's not enough for people, because they cannot accept that this entity, this being, somebody or something, as for the tree, is so important for them that they cannot think about it just rational way as a plant. It's something more.
Yes, and actually there is one last example I would like to share with everybody before they run away about this, and we can then continue the discussion if there is a will for that. But really, okay, this is actually a short, sorry, I need to go to find the picture. But it was one person which I interviewed, and he had this case that the tree in the yard was supposed to be cutted. His wife told that this is too near of the house, it should be cutted away. Like typical actually situation. in Finland and maybe in Slovakia as well. Mm-hmm. And the man did so that he cut the tree, but you see that there is still kind of 6 feet, or actually 6 meters stump. Mm-hmm. So this tree is cutted, but it's still standing. And after that, it became his favorite tree.
Oh.
So this is now more than a tree. It's a totally new kind of biodiversity, like ecosystem of fungi, of insects, of birds. And he's watching it every day, and he calls it masterpiece of nature. So I hope this kind of example would be one of the solutions also in cities and in the yards, that the trees they didn't need to be removed totally. They could stay even though they would be dead or old or considered to be dangerous for the people. There are always solutions to respect nature, tree, and people attached to them. Mm-hmm. It's really a magnificent tree now.
That's fascinating, really. So it doesn't have to be like a life standard tree, but it may be various phases of life, even the life after life, right?
And really, I would like people to think it more broadly, like about trees and like life and hope. So when can you actually say that the tree is dead? Mm-hmm. When is dead? Is it dead when it's not making leaves again? Is it dead when it's cutted? Is it dead when the stump is removed? And what about then when it makes the new seedlings from its roots? Mm-hmm. It's not dead. Most of them never die.
When they are in the forest, yes. But sometimes when it is in a garden or in urban space, when the roots and everything is digged away and removed, and I don't know, IKEA chair is made out of it.
Yeah.
Then it is maybe more difficult.
Really, I added some conclusions to inspire you, maybe, or to sum it up.
Mm-hmm. That's very important, I think, and it moves us to different style of thinking about nature and about us as well, as people, as individuals, and as society as such. Not just in purely rational categories, but also as beings full of emotions and, yes, spirituality and other aspects which are very difficult to capture sometimes. Is there anybody in the group who would like to comment on this list of aspects of resilience or add something here?
It's definitely not perfect. I would be really happy to give more ideas.
Jana, you wanted to add something?
Yes.
Yes,
thank you.
Go ahead.
I can just talk forever about this topic. And what question that came to my mind was if you share this, Kaisa, these studies or what you found even about the connection and resilience in education, is this part of the curriculum for children, let's say, or are you aiming that way? Do you think that that it would be something, let's say, that you could take further your study, because I see this would be amazing pointing start to teach kids about these emotions, like to choose a tree, write a story, and this could like be a long-term project throughout the whole primary school, let's say, and maybe at the end it could be a documentary, or like it could be the picture of obviously within 10 or 8 years we wouldn't see the tree growing that much, but maybe children could reflect back on their emotions and how it changed, as what you shared this amazing story about how when you are dead, let's say, or how you feel about yourself in connection to the nature. So yeah, my question was if there is a relation, or you are thinking of taking these studies further and applying it within the education, or is there anything in Finland, because it's such an inspiring country when it comes to schooling system and education.
Wow, Jana, thank you so much for that idea. I haven't been thinking about that yet, but that really would make sense, actually, because yeah, and now we are talking much about that, like emotional education for schools and for children, and
well, because if you
idea.
think about it, like they are talking about the artificial intelligence and what's the most important in the later years, and like what should we be teaching children, and emotional intelligence comes up as the most important. And this would be such a brilliant connection there, because kids, can relate to it. It's not abstract. It's something that's in their backyard, or they can grow, they can paint. It could be sort of art therapy. I can see the project happening.
I would be really happy to create that project with somebody who is interested.
Yes. We can create a consortium, Finnish, Slovak, Australian, international global project.
Yeah, it could be stories from all over the world. And, like we are actually moving back to Slovakia after 10 years. But anyway, it could be like an international project from all over the world, kind of like a global sharing thing between children and schools. Anyway, I'm thinking actually, too much.
This is important maybe to say, even for the recording, that we really would like to, together with our colleague Daniela Nusianen, who is also colleague of Kaisa, working in Finland and living in Finland, but she's Slovak. And we are planning to somehow connect these ideas and maybe do something similar here, because we already have a contest, like Tree of the Year, which is organized by Ekopolis Foundation in Slovakia. And we would like to think about connecting the discussion about trees and the public event linked to trees themselves with some part of something similar to this project, not this serious type of research, but maybe like more, educational oriented project to really publish some interesting stories of people who want to share them and to show this other side of this important relationship, that trees are important, but also human feelings and stories and narratives and habits connected to them are also important in public discussion. So this is just the start.
And this is just, can I say one more thing? So I think maybe we should finish, but what actually came to my mind, what could be also interesting, and how to frame this. So let's say kids have stories that they could they could share themselves, like a kind of, I run here in Australia this sort of like, it's called story sharing cafe. So I invite someone for a conversation, and it could be great if it would be a young adult or a child, and they would share this like their story about their tree. But I think it can almost lead to very interesting conversation to have the child there thinking, you know, in their mind, like in child's mind, about what is the tree, and maybe we are trying to think with our adult's mind what would be the, like, what should we bring or so, but sit them on a chair and share the story in front of the audience, and what this could be kind of like a connection with the empowerment, because I was listening a podcast of this psychologist in America, and and he said that Americans are such a confident speakers is because they are actually from very early age trained to be confident speakers, or so, like they speak in front of the classes and so. So this could have like a different aspects on what could be, what can we encourage in children, and that's me stop talking.
Yeah, that we need to encourage children in different skills, right? Not only public speaking, not only this old school skills, but skills which are going to be important in 21st century, if I got it right.
Yeah, correct. And that would be connected to the emotions that Kaisa mentioned on her, like a resilient human tree relationship. It's like the emotions like care and comfort and empowerment in like that inner empowerment within themselves, and it can grow from there.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Jana, for this nice bunch of ideas. And yeah, we can stay in touch. And when you come back to Slovakia, I think we'll not finish this thinking about this project, because also Daniela, whom I mentioned just right now, she managed to connect for a while. Danielka, can you show us your face just and wave for a second? Yes, here she is. she's the first one who came with this idea. We just wanted to say hello to you, darling. And we already promised everybody that we will continue with thinking about this linkage with what Kaisa is doing, with what we are studying here in Slovakia. And that is not end, just beginning of maybe longer cooperation.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, and I'm so sorry I couldn't join for the whole thing. I had some things to take care of here, so I didn't manage to come. So I'm so sorry, but yeah. I'm sure it was really good seminar, and yeah, we had many talk with Kaisa about these topics, and I love it. So that's why I recommended Kaisa for this seminar.
Oh, so lovely to see you, Daniela.
Wonderful. Okay, guys, so thank you very much. We are already much longer than was the planned time for this webinar. So thank you, everybody, for active participation or for passive listening. Whatever was your choice, everything was fine for us. And especially thank you, Kaisa, for your beautiful speech and insight of different dimensions of how we can think about the trees. So I think that was wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sus, for invite, and thank you, everybody. It was really wonderful to have this discussion with you and also hear your thoughts and stories. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice rest of the day. And thank you all for nice words. And we will put the link and send it to you on the link on YouTube on this recording. Thank you once again.
Bye.